Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're continuing our Tanya the Evil series here with episodes 8 and 9. Very excited to be diving back in to see Tanya the morally dubious do her thing. As of last week I am officially invested. I want to see where we go here and how this kind of conflict expands, how we kind of play off some of these World War concepts, historical concepts, whatever you want to say there. And yeah, see how Tanya navigates her way through being X on the other side of the equation there, of course. It's like it's algebra or something. Anyway, I've got the YouTube comments up here ready to go. Bad jokes aside, starting here with Sal. I think War Report was like a 6.5 recap episode that would have aired, but obviously isn't in my set. Makes sense. So, yeah, that's why at the end of episode 6, where it said, next episode, War Report, it's like, that's what it was. And I'm very happy that they just skipped that, so I didn't even have to do the thing where I started watching it and then realized it was a recap episode and then, like, went, oh shit, guess I better watch another one. That would have been bad. The only show that ever had, like, a really good recap episode, well, not the only one, but Utena. The only one I've done on the channel, I guess. Yeah, Utena's recap episode is necessary. You should watch that one. And Sal again here. Glad I checked the mail and noticed the name of Mary Sue. Like, what the hell, being X? Imagine being a reincarnated person with the knowledge of the Mary Sue trope and then seeing that name on the opposition side. Now, obviously, Tanya has no knowledge of this, and Mary plus the mum moved to the USA to get away from the war, so yeah, they're not in close proximity. But imagine that Tanya was aware of the trope and was thrown in there. How would that be a test of faith as well? That's an interesting thing to consider, actually. And again, the way you phrased this, and her name being Mary Sue, makes me think that she may be coming back. It would be something that this show would do, or at least this story. I don't know if we get that far yet, but yeah, watching it, right? Because if they've gone to the USA, or whatever equivalent of the USA is there, and again, this is a World War I thing, they came into the war quite late, in 1917, off the top of my head, so sure, that could be a direction for the story once we go full global conflict style. That could be something. Next comment here from Pencil Sharp. It's like an RTS or something, kind of quoting me from last week. Carlo Zen, the author of the light novel of Tanya the Evil, noted fan of Paradox grand strategy games. There's even a popular Tanya the Evil Yojo Senki Hearts of Iron 4 mod. And yeah, the kind of the Paradox or kind of 4X game in general, pipeline to anime fan is a lucrative one. I know a lot of people that have gotten into certain shows that way, and even this whole thing. Maybe those two kind of communities mingle a little bit. Maybe the Venn diagram there's a little bit more of a circle. They're definitely both nerdy, I'll give you that. Me personally, I've never been one for the big, overwhelming grand strategy games, like, again, noted Hearts of Iron 4, Europa Universalis, any of those kind of ones. Not really my bag. I've dabbled in some Civ, dabbled in some other things here and there. I really like Age of Mythology. What a game. But that's kind of veering away from the genre anyway. Crusader Kings was fun too. I like Crusader Kings, but yeah. I don't know. That was a weird tangent. Anyway, Haruka Tomatsu, who was the voice of Mary Sue, of course. Yes, I remember from last week. Recently Mayu in Hibike Season 3. She was excellent in that. That's probably where I recognize the voice from, if it wasn't any of the people that I listed last week, because I don't think it was. And yeah, a little bit of shade thrown here at Winston Churchill. Well, I never. Yeah, at least Rudersdorf, I believe that's the main general guy. At least he had the decency to call off that kind of stuff if it was going to result in mass casualties. Anyway, I don't need to get the figures up, but it's pretty bad. We learn about it a lot in school, in this country in particular. I wonder why. And last comment here from Bamps. I guess you're right, loyalty is the wrong word, but yeah, just imagine there is somebody similar to Tanya in this world potentially, or somebody faithful, or something like that. Like, and you're gravitating a little bit more towards Tanya than the other one, right? Because I think the example I used last week was Anson Su. So he was praying, he was worshipping, all that other kind of stuff. Being X said, nah, fuck that shit. Because if Being X has supreme control over everything, then they could let win whoever they wanted to let win, right? And we let Tanya win. So, again, shows Being X is at least invested in the game, wants to prove Tanya wrong. In that way, that is kind of loyalty. I kind of see where I was coming from, I guess. But it's more to the point, I don't think that Anson Su was like an isekai guy, if that makes any sense. If there's like other isekai guys, and then being X still continues to choose Tanya to be the person to live, I guess, kind of, again, giving away all personal control over the situation to God in that kind of scenario, but, which is kind of weird, but say there was another Tanya and we choose this Tanya, then that's interesting, I think. That shows a level of investment, almost kind of a love-hate relationship type thing that they have. But again, that's some grand yappery because that's probably not going to come to fruition, at least in this season. Either way, we'll jump in here shortly, but I'll give that Patreon a shout out, of course, if you wanted to be that 1 week ahead. Episodes, what will it be? 10 and 11. That's awkward. Yeah. We'll see what we can do next week. Maybe. We'll see. Might be a 1 episode banger. We'll see. Again, you'll know if you're seeing this publicly. It'll be up on Patreon. You can check that out at your leisure there, of course. Many people have done this, up to and including Mickey Babbers, Trials++, AJ, Banana Ramahama Damasama, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Christopher Konechny, Copley, Dapper Dwarf, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Ferdinand Hernando, Fleur Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Fusel, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Hans Peter, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Jami Boo, Joran, Kasogtha, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Lasher840, Leal, Lick H, Lou, Master Detective, Mistake L Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nico Lane, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Ragashingo, Ronland B&K, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, SGM Janus, Skeleton, The Lazy Panda Man, Waifu Overdose, Without a Net, Yuki Ali, Zach, Akumansa, Binshi, Voodoo Chili, and Backslash. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. Last week, Tanya murdered somebody. He didn't deserve it. He was on the opposition side. If anything, the framing made it show that he really, really, really didn't deserve it. It made him the most sympathetic, to a point of parody and to a point of trying to say something fun about story and genre in kind of a meta way, in a way that I really enjoy. But that begs the question, what's next? The implication is that the Entente Alliance fell, so time skip to after they fell? Is Tanya going to, like, age? That'd be weird. I don't like that. Because they implied, like, a year or something later. Maybe I'm getting my timeline all mixed up there. Maybe a small time jump, and then again, the Republic seems to be the next nation on the chopping block. Back to the Western Front. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, with Tanya being dubious morally, as I said before. Evil, some may say. And yeah, I think that's enough setup. We'll jump in here with episode 8 of Tanya the Evil coming right up. Rightio, episode 8, up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 41 seconds. I'm using the Tenrai Sensei subs, so use those ones. Should be very similar to official stuff there, of course, but there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below, regardless. So you can check that one out at your leisure. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. Indeed. Explosion. The backgrounds are really good still. Doki Doki. Indeed. Are you excited about that, or? Oh. That is the way it goes. That certainly is war. And we're still kind of like this slick team, this battalion going around fixing things. And she's still doing that with them, I guess. Treating them like dirt, but they love it. Is that... Did Bro get a haircut? Was that a different guy? I think that's a different guy. Ame, of course. Yes, Slay. whenever she's on screen. I was about to say, we hadn't seen her eyes at all this episode thus far. Ain't it fun? Living in the fake world? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing there. I will say, every single time with Tanya, I turn it up for other stuff. I have to turn it down for Tanya. Just to, like, hear myself, man. This is another, like, apology session for Patreon. Things were late this week. That was no good. But that always happens now. Employment, boo, I hate my job. I don't know, they pay me. It's pretty good. Just sometimes you don't feel like sitting down and locking in either. You know? At the end of the day, I'm sitting here watching an episode of anime, but still. You have to focus, at least a little bit. That motherfucker's dead. He's done. We cooked his ass. Ooh. It's a bit depressing. Well, you didn't die. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're kind of talking shit about you. She's great. Nope. Is that also a promotion? Major? Was she always a major? I don't know. She probably got promoted or something. I hate it when my rear area's been cut off. It's bad. And recording. It's always good. Members of Parliament? That's pretty bad. Ooh. Plucky. It's pretty violent, too. They're sticking their heels in. Every time, man. You see the dialogue start to cut off and it's like, oh, yeah, they're done. What's his name? Benoit? Something like that? Benoit Blanc? New mission. Interesting. Yeah, City mixes it up a little bit. Okay. What's the plan? Okay. Committing war crimes. Cool. The framing there was really fun. Or fun's the wrong word. Interesting. The animation, man. This is fantastic. Yeah, yeah, she's really torn up about it. That's a great scene. The enemy. The Republicans. She thought for but a moment about that. Morally dubious. It's the first time in a while this show's taken a step back and talked about like actual ethics. I guess every kind of person has their like one step too far, right? This guy's locking in. Interesting. We'll see where this character goes. It seems like we're setting up like an actual story here for him, which is intriguing. I wouldn't call him conscientious, but he definitely is an objector. She's here. It's like a supervillain. Just in how they use her name. Oh, cool. Yeah, sick. Well, they're doing a good job hiding. I know. Yes, boss. The production on this thing is like really consistent. Normally, a lot of shows would have like a little bit of a slowdown, but this is super cool. Like even just from a blending of CG and 2D kind of stuff, it's not quite there, obviously, but it kind of, almost kind of, maybe Attack on Titan areas, a little bit. Obviously not there, but you know what I mean there. Give me hella drugs. Well, that's probably why. Oh. I didn't even have a chance to really look at him. Okay. What? That was kind of like Care, almost. It's fine. You got shot, man. If anything, it's advantageous that you didn't die. Oh yeah, this guy, that's my favorite guy. Laugh a minute, that guy. Mm-hmm. Isn't our problem, isn't a good philosophy to have in war, really? Or anywhere. The irregulars. Okay, bro just... Well... But this was... We'll have a big, long talk about this one, man. Wipe out the enemy. All those dudes not in uniforms, the enemy. Really, really, really interesting episode, man. Now, don't love it too much. That's not great. Cool. The good guys, right? That's pretty fucked up. They're really making you feel this one, huh? I'm sure there's never been a real world equivalent of this kind of story taking place. Oh, ew, ew, ew. Okay, I don't want Tanya quality sound for throwing up. Yeah, helping people. Like that person over there on the ground. It's all burnt up. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, buddy. It's pretty bad. I don't think she's gonna listen, man. This is intense, man. Look at all these civilians pointing guns at us. It was also them. Well, if your superior told you to jump off a bridge, would you? I think Tanya would. What are you thinking, buddy? Talk to me. Okay, now you locked in. If you could define what he's doing as locking in. War crimes. Thought that was going to be the kicker. Talented's a word for it. Okay, man. It's Tanya's gun. It's got her name on it, even. Oh, special ED. I was like, what were we doing? That was a tough one. Just morally, that's... I mean... that's a very interesting episode to talk about. So I feel like gross. At least a little bit. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's not like I knew any of the characters. They're merely just there to be people to be shot at. But still, like, specifically, and again, I think this is the implication, like, looking at the current set of, like, international, like, wartime law, and then, like, looking for weird loopholes is crazy. The idea of if we don't kill all these civilians now, some will grow into soldiers that will hate us later is insanely fucked. I I don't even know. Yeah, onwards and upwards, I guess. But not too far upwards, that would be bad. Who was awake? Hang on. Seriously? Yeah. Keep explaining. Did you now? Punished Anson Sue. Let's go. Hype as fuck. Okay, that hyped me up. That got me out of the doldrums of the rest of the episode there, which is a little bit morally not great. Yeah, onwards and upwards, as I said. Episode 9 upcoming. Rightio, episode 9 up there, ready to go. 23 minutes and 47 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. Tenrai Sensei subs and picture in picture version in the description below. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. Where are we? A few days after, okay. After the atrocities, very cool. But yeah, probably. Who's this Joker again? Who the hell's Uga? Was this the guy at college? Zetsubou. Say his name correctly, please. Ooh, the voice acting. Getting a little bit low. Interesting. Sure. Well, that one was already referenced in the show. And this was Zatur, because that's what he was implying at the end of last episode, right? Ooh. Okay. Interesting one. So again, the way I understand the tactics there is we're like pulling back, they're going to flood in, and then we kind of encircle. But how do we make that not obvious that that's what we're trying to do? I'm going to imagine that the Napoleon example there is similar to the Hannibal one. at Kanai, because like you would have a smaller force defeating a larger force, overwhelmingly larger force, and win the day convincingly. Again, that's what we're kind of going for there. Being X hasn't showed up in a while. What's the big fella up to? It's a really cool beat to this song. I think there's a hair there or something. What? Okay. Bald man? Yeah, it's just not an offensive. Maximize human cost. Well, yeah, if they don't have a force, or at least enough of a force, then they'll withdraw. Indeed. We must go forward by going backwards. Of course. It's risky, because you're, seceding a lot of ground as well. Murder them all. Airshot. Just like a coach calling plays or something. Barking orders, pointing, shouting. Oh, expanded. Any sign of that guy that was having a mental breakdown, or? Okay, based. Visha lives. Visha? Seems like it's looking bad for our heroes. Heroes? Fucking God. I hate that guy. Does being X even have a face, or Is Tanya dead, by the way, or? Also, yeah, I didn't really talk about it. Anson Su's eyes, right? He got the ability to lock in, like Tanya did. Okay. All quiet. Operation Fog and Sun. I don't think he's gonna make it, man. How you feeling, bud? Yeah, but also, yeah, that's like legally, but what about in the eyes of God? What about upon my ultimate judgment as a human? So yeah, you can reframe that like she's being nice, right? But that is also very charitable. Like she's taking the responsibility for what she has to do. What is that supposed to mean? Yeah. How dare you? That guy's dying. Like bad. Oh, tension in the room. Where are we? Yeah, okay. Gotta love some false propaganda. Interesting. So it's a big fucking stack of paper. Oh no. Seriously? We left this guy in the Stone Age, man. We don't need him back. Come on now. Oh, the quack. The quack is back. What? Charge up the V. Oh shit. Zetsubou. This guy loved God so much he made it like a missile plane. There it is. God made these boosters. Hydrogen fuel. Where we're going, we don't need roads. I'm a bit worried it's all gonna just blow up and kill me in the sky. If I'm honest. Accounting for fuel. That's good. What? So I have to do something? I have work? Oh, pun. Huh. They're literally falling for it. See, I would think that this would be way too obvious if it wasn't for the propaganda stuff we talked about before. So they're under the impression that we're really struggling. We're going to do the wraparound. The reach around. Oh, I love this guy. Oh, that was you. Okay. Okay, man. Whatever you seem to think. Think you'll have a date with destiny here in but a moment. Maybe a rocket-shaped destiny. Okay, this guy's still struggling, even after talking it out. I don't know, man. A lot on my plate at the moment. I'm kind of at war. The head of the snake. Okay. She seems to be at peace with everything. Or she had a little bit too much to drink. It's one of the two. Are we going to do this? No, probably not. I was wondering about timing there. Haha. I understand that one. The two-headed snake. Indeed. Snake. Dragon, of course. What is that, spaghetti and sausages? I guess, man. That's what I eat when I'm out of food. And I need to go shopping. Look at these two old chums. Blood? Where does Anson Sue factor into this? Where's my bro? Give me back my gun. It's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be absolute peak. Oh yeah, look at these. Yeah, okay, sick. I'm not trusting this evil, evil man. Charge up the V right now. Shut up about God, bro. Facts and logic. Let's go to Purgatory then. Insert song. Interesting too. What are those wings? Do they pop out anymore, or they seem very shallow? Not that I'm a, plane physicist, I guess. There you go. Yep, and now you're literally barreling towards the frontest of the front lines. Yeah, a little bit. I frickin' love the free market, man. This will definitely end the World War. This will end all the conflict. It's kind of cool. It's like, almost kind of like a, like one of the pillboxes. Like just kind of this one stationary spot. Really? I mean, I knew we were close, but come on now. Gonna cliffhanger me like that? It seems like we have a small little post-credit scene there too. I must say, when we got the unique ED last episode, missed this song. Not that the other one wasn't good, obviously, but still. So, I'm very happy I watched this additional episode because they had an interesting point about Tanya's actions during episode 8. Which was basically, again, there's a reason why that scene is in the show earlier about, like, hey, the commanding officer takes the blame, all that other kind of stuff. You could take her following orders and her making the rest of her team do certain stuff as taking responsibility in a similar way. Almost, in a way, it's very sacrificial for her team. There's almost a goodness to it, I guess I would say. And again, we must think about the framing of that episode. A lot of it is through just that random guy, but we get a lot more Tanya perspective on things this episode. And yeah, we see that she isn't as gung-ho as we think from the outside looking in, I guess. Which again is probably needed. We can't have a protagonist that's like shooting at civilians. That's probably not great. There is nuance there. There's nuance to the shooting of those civilians, I swear. What is this shit? Oh, this was the guy that was dying. He's going to the farm upstate. He'll be okay. Yeah, the voice is very funny. Why do I have to write things I don't mean? Oh, really? Missed that, man. And yeah, I'll probably return a little bit later tonight for some analysis on those two episodes. Thought-provoking. A lot of thoughts to be had. I'll see you in a second. And so, episodes 8 and 9 in the books. What did I think? I thought they were very smart. I thought it was a smart set of 2 episodes with some interesting ideas addressed. Tanya in particular. How do we feel about episode 8? Pretty bad, right? But I think episode 9 and its perspective shift changes a lot of things about it, right? I think that's very interesting. I think the show has the ability to take a step back and be like, okay, well, this is the events as presented through one character's perspective here and now. Here's the next episode. Here's her side of the story. Here's what she was trying to do. Here's some justifications. Here's bouncing those ideas of a few more different people. And yeah, you start to get a better picture of what's going on. I get the feeling that Tanya's trying to... You know how you like rip off a Band-Aid? She's trying to do that with this whole World War thing, right? Where she wants a quick and decisive victory to this conflict in the here and now, to the point where no more war will take place and everything will be hunky-dory. And again, I think her mistake there in thinking that this thing's just going to end is also her folly, and also why she's in this mess in the first place. She always thinks she knows better. She always thinks that she can play the game and win. The game's designed for you to lose, buddy. Who's at the top? Who's controlling this thing? Your direct opposition. How are you gonna... Everything that you're doing, I have the utmost faith, is only going to perpetuate the conflict even more, as is the plan, and get you to admit defeat, face you up against harder and harder things. It's not going to end well for you, Tanya. But again, I only see that because I'm seeing it from the outside looking in, I guess. Because yeah, pretty much objectively, what she does in episode 8 and what we are made to do, like kind of as her battalion, as her people, is pretty disgusting. We're like creating every excuse in the book to literally shoot at civilians and to shoot at like children and like women and the defenseless. And yeah, and so I think the vibe here as well is the city. It had a name, I forget, it started with A. I think that's an occupied city. So when it's like, okay, can you leave those Imperial soldiers alone? Can you give them back to us? Can you not do this? Can you not do that? Dog, you guys are like, these are our houses, and you guys are just like here, occupying it? Of course we're gonna, there's gonna be an uprising and that kind of thing. It's only natural. And yeah, as I said before, it just feels like every single opportunity that we had to stop, we didn't take. We kept going full charge ahead, and the justification at the very end is foul. It is foul. Those people that you're sparing will grow up to be soldiers that will fight you, so it's more efficient to just kill them now. That's terrible, man. That is terrible. And again, you have Tanya on her side wanting to... Again, she sees that the ends justify the means, I feel. Again, she wants to bring an end to this thing. Again, she also wants to be the one in charge here, so she's not condemning all of her fellow people. Like, all of that is coming to the equation there in a way that I didn't see in episode 8, that only came through after episode 9, but it's still just, like, not good. It's all just... It's all not great at all. I guess you could say this is the continuation as well of the darker path that Tanya was on come the end of episode 7. And yeah, she definitely fulfilled her end of the bargain there. It certainly is dark. But other things in the 2 episodes, I thought they looked and sounded fantastic, as has been the kind of trend with the show thus far. I think the intrigue and the tactics of it all and the politics behind the scenes and that kind of stuff is, again, starting to grip me more. It's starting to become some of my favorite stuff in the show. I'm a little bit less hot on the action, want more of that stuff, want more of the machinations, which is always good. And Anson Sue, he survived somehow. I say somehow, by the hand of God, he survived, and it seems like he has some kind of special power as well, to the point where his eyes glowed that kind of yellowy green, which probably tells me that he's super powered up and stuff. He will become a formidable rival for Tanya in the future. You'd think if you're doing that this season, that would then be reintroduced again by the end of this season as well. Anson Sue will return in Endgame. And yeah, let's jump in again to episode 8 and have another look. We'll see what we can see. This kind of opening shot of Tanya is quite telling now, having seen the rest of what goes on, right? It almost feels like she's purposely hiding her eyes here. Like, we don't see what she really thinks about any of this kind of stuff. We just see her looking out along the horizon, just kind of scanning the battlefield. The eyes are the kind of window into the soul, so to say. So again, we don't really get what she really thinks, which is kind of the framing of the episode, right? We don't really sit with Tanya and get much internal dialogue, really, about her actual opinions. So I'm forgetting timeline stuff, but before going in here, I theorized a time skip. I don't think there's been much of a time skip. I believe it was 2024. I believe it was 1924 before. Now it's 1925, but it's only April, so not that much time has passed, I don't think. She is back on the Rhine front, back on the Western front, doing her little bit. Okay, good. I have a name here for this guy. Second Lieutenant Warren Grants. Just call him Grants, I think. He's got a bit of a heart. He's got a bit of a moral code to him, which I do like. So again, he's gung-ho early. He's ready to go here. He's obviously been following Tanya up to this point. He hasn't openly, fully disgusted by the very concept of war, I guess, but he does have a limit, and that limit is, I guess, transgressed in this episode. And this opening scene serves as the introduction to these kind of three characters and their conversations from the kind of battalion side of Tanya's little thing. It's Vischer, it's Grants, and it's this other guy. I forget his name, but he's been around. I think he's like second in command. This is also clearly set up for failure as well. She says, "This is so much fun, isn't it, guys? Was a lot of fun." That's like her thing before we dive into the opening here, which is clearly ironic, right? They want you to think, oh yeah, this is a fun time, this is good, blah, 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 before dropping all the atrocities on you. It's like, oh no, war is not fun. Tanya's treating it like fun, but it's most certainly not that. After the opening, we have the three aforementioned characters having a little bit of a discussion about Tanya, her tactics, and I guess the gamification of war, the funification, if we wanted to say it like that. Again, similar to before the opening, that line about it's fun, what fun we'll have, and all that kind of thing, right? This guy's like keeping score, like Legolas and Gimli style. He's like keeping like score of how good he is at war. And the other guy warns him against that. Just keep your head down and do your job. If you start to like get emotionally invested from the fun perspective, then you tend to get emotionally kind of hurt by the other side of it, right? By the terrors of war and so forth. Where again, the other guy here, he's kind of advocating for a little bit more of a cold and stoic stance overall, you would say. Or just be like free of all doubt in your mind like Vischer and just focus on eating. Fair enough. I think she's had enough Tanya that she's kind of grown distant, right? She's used to it. I love her as well. I want her more in the show every single time I see Vischer, so shout outs to Vischer. Oh yes, his name is Weiss, okay, or Weiss. It depends on what you want to say there. Okay, I definitely saw that before. Ooh, that's a rough looking Tanya, actually. Yeah. Me in the future, zoom right in on that one. It's a tough looking scene. Either way, this is where we just start explaining the stuff that I was already saying. So again, crucial kind of city behind our side of the line right now. We've kind of pushed well into the Republic by this point, kind of pushed the front well along, started occupying cities that are kind of on the border and that kind of stuff. This is one of said cities. It's crucial for supply. It's crucial for its train lines, but it's been overtaken by rebels. And the sneaky part here is that the rebels here most certainly have the backing of a bunch of mages from the Republic as well, bolstering their stuff, I guess. Either way, we need to turn back around, at least us, and go address this problem. The 203rd Battalion, of course. And again, I'm sure you history buffs in the audience can talk to a real-life example literally exactly like this, because this story feels so familiar to me. It really does. Local insurgency group does XY with backing from XYZ, and then, you know, X and Y over here get involved, and then, yeah, it turns into a big old clusterfuck. We're gonna say Biento? Bientot? Severin? Let's say Biento. This is the guy that was next to Mr. Mustache, kind of this real kind of leader person in the Republic Army. He shows up again during next episode. But yeah, it goes to show how important this part of the plan is for the Republic if you're putting some guy this far up the kind of food chain to lead this kind of invasion, I guess, or reclaiming, I guess you could say as well. Now, I noted in the reaction, this was probably one of my favorite scenes in the show thus far. I think it's so very interestingly directed. So we have Commander Mortiz Paul Van Haan here, or Von Haan, excuse me, who's kind of debriefing Tanya on what she has to do next. And this is the start of it, right? We start talking in kind of hushed undertones, in subtext, about what we're actually going to have to do here. And Tanya's not stupid. She can see through it very quickly, right? It's like, yeah, war in the city is tricky. We have this plan here to quickly eliminate enemy units, whoever those enemies may be, right? Essentially, hey, we're going to tell everybody to evacuate. Under international law, anyone who remains in the city after that order is a soldier, is an enemy combatant, which means we can use whatever level of force we deem necessary to dispose of them. Now, here's the thing. This is an insurgency. It's just... It's not military personnel exclusively. It's also people that are in the occupied city that have risen up and taken control, right? They aren't training like the military. They're just like literally like farmers and plumbers and shit. They're just like out here hitting people with shovels and that kind of thing, right? They're clearly, if I was to fire a gun at one of them, especially like a super powered like mage gun, it probably wouldn't be a very good idea. It probably wouldn't be a fair fight. It would be tantamount to murder, pretty much. Which, again, doing this all in the name of God is coming into stark focus now as well, which is funny. And yeah, it'd be all well and good if these people, like, purposefully chose to invade one of our cities and did this, right? And they were farmers and whatever, and we shot them down. But they're not... Rebelling against occupation isn't aggression. You kind of lose the moral right there as soon as you start occupying the cities. And then, of course, it gets weird when you get into the political persuasions of the people going on there and what the war's even about. Then it becomes all very strange, especially when religion's involved as well. It sounds like, to me, you're trying to say, what's the best way to just nip this thing in the bud and kill everybody? Tanya sees through this, and that's why she's looking over here all shady. That's why she's beshadowed. She realizes what she's going to have to do here and who's going to ultimately be responsible. And again, this is what I mean. This was the scene I kind of discarded. I didn't really consider fully. This is Tanya, like smart-ass Tanya. She knows what's going on here. This is her making the realization. She's like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. And again, I'm going to have to do this because I'm ripping off this Band-Aid, right? However I see fit to do so. Let's end this thing quick. It sucks that I'm going to have to do this. It sucks that I'm going to have to follow orders and kill all these people, but I have to. I have to, man. Yeah, again, this is all very obvious upon the rewatch. Like, look at her. She's clearly not jazzed about this, man. We're pairing this with a lot of fantastic character animation here as well, as she kind of walks along and ponders, again, what she's going to have to do. And again, it almost feels like she's acting here. It does. Like, she's acting like this persona of the devil of the Rhine that she's built up, as opposed to what she's actually feeling deep down, right? Because again, she expresses regret at the start of episode 9. She's like, that was probably okay. Probably. It's like, well, probably not. I saw it. It wasn't okay. Pairing it with putting on the hat as well is an interesting one. Almost hiding the eyes, hiding the true feeling once again as well. Again, putting on an extra step of the uniform. I'm just following orders. Look at me, I'm a military person. I'm dressed. I'm dressed to the part, right? Yeah. Uh, Fantastic. This is so much extra depth here upon the rewatch, and so much extra depth than I expected from the show here as well. A little bit of a dance here as well. Again, like almost I'm comically almost like theater levels of evil, almost as a coping mechanism. I think you could make that argument. I really do. Let me know if I'm like overanalyzing this as well. I think I'm seeing it. I think this is legitimate, I think. It's a sad thing. Yes, terribly sad, but we're soldiers. And if orders say we must burn beautiful Arene to the ground, I think I said Arsene before, never mind, then that is what we must do. So again, overhead planes drop evacuation orders to the town that I've lived in since I was fucking born. I'm not going to evacuate, dude. You're just gonna bomb my house? I'm gonna stay here. Call it stubbornness, call it pride, call it this, call it that, but they're in the right. They really are. Tanya, after learning this information, then comes out and does her little speech, right? The same kind of normal speech as she always does. Again, they're a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but they're meant to rouse the troops. But this one only worries everybody. They're like, are you implying what I think you're implying here, Tanya? That, again, like, it's combat in a city. Property damage is unavoidable. Almost, yeah. Read between the lines there of what she's trying to say, right? I know that Grant's here certainly is. He's like, oh shit, I realize what I'm going to have to do here, and I'm not sure I'm okay with it. In contrast here, we have Vice, right? Who is just like locked in. He's like, narrow eyes on my shoes, putting them on. This is just a job to me. Don't get attached to either side of it, right? Again, this is what I was explaining before. If you get attached to the fun side of war, like counting numbers of kills and how good you are and all that kind of stuff, right? Then you get dragged down by the other side as well. You open your heart to that kind of stuff, to the atrocities that you have to commit, and you'll never be the same again, man. This is him trying to casually warn him in the here and now. Basically, don't think about that shit. Don't say another word. Don't talk about it. Because we all know we're just trying to do it and get it done. I don't know how they get this data, but apparently the Republic mages can like tell which mages are here based on their data readings. So he knows that Tanya's here, the Devil of the Rhine. Oh shit, they've sent in the big guns. Let's prepare for the worst. And at first, the 203rd Battalion here, they fly over. Nothing seems to be happening. I guess they heeded the warning. I guess they actually evacuated, right? You can almost see a little bit of the relief on Grant's face here. Okay, they just left. It's fine. I'm not going to have to do the thing. And then a single shot rings out. We're being attacked. We're being fired upon. Again, we're looking for reasons here to do what we need to do. And yeah, for the record, I think the combat and the movement here is quite exceptional. You can see some pretty liberal use of CG here, but I think that's only natural considering how fast the movement is and how, I guess, labor-intensive the fights are as well. Lots of flying people, lots of background, lots of, you know... I referenced Attack on Titan, and I don't say that lightly, I guess. Like, that show is a production delight, absolutely. And, again, does use CG in spots to get that kind of effect across, especially, again, when we're fighting in the cities. Fighting in the city is also a fantastic point of difference, kind of to differentiate this episode from the rest of the show, which has been a lot of, like, you know, other types of warfare, trench warfare, just general battlefield stuff. It mixes it up a little bit. It's a good sense of variety. Nice touch there as well with Tanya kind of using the light there in the sky to kind of distract them. Like, she kind of floats up this way. You kind of see it there. Shield my eyes from the sun. It's almost like I'm using God's power in the process of fighting here, which again, she literally is doing as well. So again, associating that sunlight and that kind of break in the clouds so very much with being Axe. I think that's pretty smart. In Grant's storyline here, this is another crucial step. We have Weiss, who is the leader, or the second in command, basically. He gets shot, so he's feeling kind of down, he's feeling kind of weary. Oh shit, I was running on adrenaline, I actually got shot, I'm fucked. Tanya takes note and literally tells him to just go home, it's safer. We also need somebody to lead the injured out of here. It seems like the perfect job for you. But it also leaves you without a familiar face here in this most treacherous of situations. Again, he's almost like your senpai. He's like your guardian type guy. Without him around, you break down and you Yeah, you can't help but realize the rest of everything else going on, right? You don't have anybody to tell you to lock in anymore. That's another really telling line, again, having seen the rest of the episode. Tanya basically says, you hesitated, you like second thought some things, right? That's why you ended up getting shot. Focus up, don't do it again. Don't lose haste, all that kind of stuff. It's almost like she's telling herself that in the process as well. She's like, yeah, remember, it's just orders. I shouldn't hesitate. Maybe that's why she was struggling a little bit with the last fight as well. She kind of had to improvise there a little bit. Maybe she too realized what she's going to have to do and was second thinking some things. And again, it dulled her senses a little bit. It dulled her normal kind of good combat strength, I guess. So again, as big of a game as you talked before, it still does affect you, right? Tanya's battalion here is strong enough to push back the rest of the Republic mages to basically hide and retreat and shoot back from this one spot. Technically, she's completed her job here at this time. She's opened up avenues for the artillery to roll in and start doing their thing. And again, what happens later isn't our problem. That's what she says here, right? She keeps wanting to, again, distance herself from this thing. Here's where she finally sends out that message, very similar to the one at Dacia. That's what we're calling them, right? The Dacia, yeah. Where it's like, hey, here's a warning, we're about to do XYZ, leave or surrender or something like that, otherwise we'll have to go through with it. But, as opposed to Dacia, she treats this one with a little bit more care. It's way more serious than that encounter, than that kind of offensive back in the day. And she's like literally quoting the book. She's very pencil pusher here, I guess. She's doing exactly what she needs to do without any of her normal kind of Tanya flair. Again, no funny voice here or anything like that. Specifically here, she says, hey, give up those people that you've taken prisoner. And it's like, well, no, technically you took all of us as prisoner when you occupied the city. So this is tit for tat, you know? We've got some of your guys because you have our entire city. If you don't secede it, then we're going to do things and that kind of thing, right? And again, they're not wrong, but they're also digging their own graves here. We realize what Tanya's going to have to do. And this here's the straw that breaks the camel's back. We have this one Imperial soldier making a run for it, escaping in the chaos before being shot dead. This shows that, again, the Republic forces here and the kind of Arsene city people, the militia there, they aren't going to be reasoned with. You know, they're not going to hand over their commanding officers or any of the normal rule type stuff, right? They've broken the rules. Right here and now, they started killing our prisoners instead of giving them over, right? Like, that is now the indicator that we can fire everything at them, right? That there's no holds barred, we can do this thing, you know? And then, yep, there's the order. Eliminate Republican forces in Arene. And then, yeah, Tanya has to do what she has to do here. Let's get to work protecting our people. And yeah, we artillery bombed the fuck out of their city. Out of Arene. Oh no. Specific focus on the two children here is pretty overt. It's meant to make you feel bad. It works. It's also fun juxtaposition considering Tanya is basically a child herself. It's maybe something to look at too. And yeah, if you like to see atrocities animated on screen, this is the show for you. Looks pretty bad. Looks pretty bleak. Yeah, we didn't shy away from some stuff. I was surprised we showed like this is like a person burning to death. Like, what's this thing rated? I wonder. Probably MA or something like that. That's probably within the realm of okayness then. Either way, this demonstration of violence, terror, power, everything else in between from the Imperials has led to Biento. Yeah, we ended up calling him Biento. Him calling everybody to basically run away. We're seceding this, it's not worth it. Let's leave. And again, it's the look on everyone's faces. They realize what they're doing here and that it's not okay. But again, just gotta follow those orders. The most on the nose one here, as well as the statue of the children exploding right here. Again, it's pretty on the nose, as I said, but it works. This is when Grants makes his way in to save one of the Imperial prisoners of war. When he sees a toasted arm, I guess you could say, poking out of the rubble. And once again, he is faced with the actual reality of what we've done here. Him locking in, saying, I'm just saving the prisoners, I'm just saving the prisoners. Where again, this is denial. You in denial, my friend. Oh, okay, so this is the framing here as well. We have the last remaining mages here from the Republic, right? They're kind of guarding these people escaping. But again, remember our goal: eliminate all enemy forces. These enemy forces, even if it means literally shooting at civilians behind them, we must eliminate these people. Because I was wondering why we're literally firing on these people, like literally walking away. That's why, because there is the vague framing of potentially maybe someone that needs to be shot at being shot at. In a way, that's the most overt framing of them all, right? Like, this is literally what the entire thing is. Eliminate the enemy forces, but what's behind the enemy forces? In city warfare, we don't really know who we're shooting at, that kind of stuff, right? If there will be, crossfire and casualties from that kind of stuff, they are literally standing in the way and putting everybody else in danger, And this is Grant's moment here as well. He looks down, he sees all the troubled faces, all the tired, downtrodden people walking away from their exploded homes, women and children among them, innocents. And it's like, oh, we're going to shoot at them? Yep, that's what we're going to do. And yeah, again, very obvious now in retrospect. Tanya's not jazzed about this at all. She's like, she even sighs as he's like walking in. It's like, oh. And yeah, this is the really kind of problematic stuff from Tanya, if you could believe it. The enemy you let go will take up his gun again. Specifically, again, the women and children. They're only going to grow up and make more people to eventually be people to shoot at us. That's bad. We don't like that. That's justification for killing them. But again, you're just following orders. You keep telling yourself that, right? And again, seeing through it now. Tanya fighting against Grants is fighting against her own moral quandaries of what she has to do here, right? Yeah, it's very funny how the framing this episode changes your perception. I really think that's quite clever. And yeah, fantastically directed sequence here to end. Kind of Grants' breakdown as he, again, faces the reality of what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to shoot at civilians. Actually, a really, 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 really effective scene. Fantastic stuff. We end the episode with basically finding out that Zetsubou has been reading Tanya's old fanfiction from her university days, which was basically, hey, here's ways where we can bypass certain aspects of wartime law and be able to conduct combat in cities in the best way possible. Here's basically all the loopholes that let us kill people and do what we want. Now, Tanya writing this ending up in the hands of her commanding officer and actually forcing people to go through and do this kind of stuff it stinks of being X, right? Like, hey, you thought about this? Well, here's the application of this. Do you actually like it anymore? And yeah, this tour guy is like evil as fuck. He's like, I don't care what you think if I use this in the planning of this operation. And again, the reveal there, the author is Tanya, of course. And yeah, this is when he fucking locks in and gets super giga evil. This is more talking to what we're clearly like building up to, and a little bit more the climax is this whole kind of end to the war with the Republic, I guess. The multi-phase plan that we're putting into action here that's going to end this portion of the war, I guess. Now, we had a unique ED here, which I think was an interesting decision, and again, maybe talks a little bit more to Tanya's personal internal stuff. Let's do some lyrics here quickly. My body shakes as if it were freezing, not from fear, but from a silent fervor. The roaring wind drowns out even screams. In a sky filled with gunpowder smoke, I'll surely witness a dream. Again, I've kind of let a few lines simmer there for a second. It's essentially about the episode, right? It's about the ends justifying the means. It's about the war itself overshadowing the tragedy, right? Whatever the objective is the most important thing. Like, we don't care about whatever we have to do to get there. In Tanya's case, this objective is to beat and to spite being X. And again, she doesn't care what she has to do and who she has to kill to get there. I don't feel sadness or loneliness. My bones just feel even more dry. Bones dry? Don't know what that's about. Something about your blood, maybe? Does blood wet your bones? I don't know how bodies work. Oh, love, lust, all things cruel. Your form will be thrust into flame, reduced to ash. I'd imagine that's a typo. Please respond, hear my call, shining future. Right now, I'll offer an eye-opening reality unto this bizarre world. JoJo reference? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know what we'll do there with the lyrics a little bit later on. weird stuff, I don't know. And yeah, visually there, it's pretty quaint, I guess I would say. There's a few fun things here and there, but again, it's more about the lyrics and its unique status as an ED. You could do the flower language thing there too if you wanted to. And then we have our post-credit stinger. I kind of don't even want to talk about it. Essentially, like, until it becomes a thing a little bit more, but Anson Soo, the bad guy from episode 7 and before that, I guess, he's back. He was literally revived by God. We have this visage here of being X or whatever. Hey, I have special plans for you based on your beef specifically with Tanya. I think I can use you to get to Tanya. Therefore, you're coming back. Therefore, we're also upgrading your powers. Therefore, he has one objective in mind, that is murdering the devil, of course. To destroy that devil, he says. And again, there's that eye color for the folks at home. This means he's got superpowers or something. The next episode begins with Tanya on a train, leading away from the Battle of Arene. Again, they've reclaimed the rail lines there as well, as we can clearly see. And the first thing we see is her, like, wiping her mouth. Again, it's almost like cleaning myself, like washing myself of what I had to do, you know? At Arene, I insisted on defending my nation's people, eliminating only the enemy mages. My hands are still pure as the driven snow. Probably. Again, this is the first time we've actually seen what Tanya actually really truly thinks about this kind of stuff. She's delusional as well. She was telling herself the same thing the Weiss was telling himself. I'm just following orders. I'm just killing the enemy mages. It's fine. I'm not committing atrocities. It's fine. As she peers down into her blood-red soup. Again, viscera, blood, guts in the soup. Oh my god, what have I done? I'm a monster. All this and more. On the train, she runs into this chucklefuck. He's from university. He's the guy that she essentially tricked to basically staying in the rear. Basically something, your daughter, I think was the vibe. Either way, he's risen up the ranks. He was pretty switched on to begin with. That's the reason why we had to do the manipulation that we did. And he also runs the railway stuff. And he clues Tanya in on a little bit of a plan. Fantastic voice acting in this section from Aoyuki, of course. Again, I should have shouted it out for that scene previous episode where she was talking with that Von Gun guy or whatever. Yeah, very good, very good. Very good voice actress. I don't know if you heard. So this is really fun. Basically, Tanya's bosses have read Tanya's stuff and are taking ideas from it. Tanya, being a step below, isn't aware of all the stuff that's going on and only learns it in hushed whispers from other people or when she's literally hearing the orders. Essentially, this guy says that we're preparing to pull everybody back from the front line, retreat, that kind of stuff, and she thinks, oh, there's only one reason for this, it's to ensnare them somehow. It's a trap. Specifically name-checking here, Napoleon Bonaparte, of course, at Austerlitz, and Hannibal at Cannae. So this here is one which I just don't know the history at all. Not even remotely close to being knowledgeable about the Napoleonic Wars, of course. But as we see here, similar situation with the strength and the casualties and losses, with again, Napoleon being very, very much more successful. Very cool. Over the, what is this? The Russians and the Austrians, of course. There we go. Very cool. And yeah, here she says a bold but fascinating plan. Little does she know it literally is partly her plan as well, right? Again, as I said before, a little bit more locked in on this kind of military guy in room speaking scene. Like here they explain that we can't use a similar strategy that we did with the Entente Alliance with a landing because, again, think about France in real life and the English. If you were to try to go to the coast there and use the water, you would basically go through their territory. And again, the Allied Kingdom isn't exactly fans of us and are probably going to be drawn into this thing at some point. Therefore, again, we can't access that same strategy. A little bit more locked in here now that I have some greater context. I feel like, again, Zetsubou here is parroting a lot of Tanya's talking points. Like, wasn't there literally a scene early in the show where she was like, the point of the, winning the war isn't to win the war, it's to not lose? Basically, again, keep all of our people intact, stay alive, that's the most important thing here, as opposed to outright victory, going in, claiming things. It's a newer approach to war as opposed to the archaic stuff of, you know, crashing a castle and getting them to sign a treaty. Again, playing the long game a little bit more. Again, he's just parodying this. He literally heard this from Tanya. Yeah, Zeto is definitely moving like Tanya here. I support aggressive action, but breaking their lines shouldn't be our goal. It should be to maximize the human cost and get them out of this thing, to end the war, to end the Republic in this war. If we eliminate all their soldiers, or at least a vast majority, then they won't be able to fight, and we effectively win, and we end the war. If I was to criticize the episode somewhat, we do spend a lot of time explaining the plan, when essentially the plan is our forces do this, wait for go, and then go. I think Tanya's role in all of this is to take out some commanding officers and some communication behind the lines. So again, they won't know what's happening until they've been surrounded and pushed upon. Sorry for hitting the mic. I choose to interpret this scene here as Tanya and the crew a little bit rattled about what they had to do. They're struggling a little bit more than normal in their combat. Again, it's all come very easy to them so far. They've faced this moral challenge, and now those challenges mentally are following them physically as well. They're struggling a little bit more at the combat side. Specifically, even like losing lots of guys. I think by the very end, we're down to 11, or those were the 11 chosen. That's pretty fucked up. It's good to see the Vice is better though. Still kicking, the old fella. We love to see it. Oh yeah, what was that? Tanya like gets shot with like an artillery here, and like kind of nothing comes of it. The guy on the radio says something about God, and then she goes to get shot, and then kind of nothing happens. I don't know. So I don't know, maybe Tanya's dead. No, but she gets shot out of a rocket later, so she can't be dead. I don't know what happened there. I guess it goes to show her locking in for enough time to essentially call their bluff, to sell the idea of the evacuation, all that other kind of stuff, right? She is willing and able to sacrifice a lot of her own team to sell the lie here, to sell the propaganda, to sell the plan that will eventually lead to the end of the war. Again, the ends for her always justify the means. But again, there's a little bit of truth to the lie as well. We are really struggling. There is unaccounted for losses to everybody here, important people in Tanya's own battalion. Again, putting it all on the line, putting even more weight on the operation they have to do in the second half of the episode here and into the future episodes as well. This is a really fun joke. We have Warrant Officer Tayanen, let's say, who he's yelling about his stomach. His stomach hurts and he's sustaining injuries and all that other kind of stuff. We think, again, he's been shot. He's in a bad way, that kind of stuff. He actually just ate a bad potato. Like, that's pretty funny here. That comes around by the very end of the episode in a very cool way. Nice scene here, I think, between Visha and Grants, right? So Visha here sees his face while he's, like, doing up a bandage and sees that he's weary. And he's got bags under his eyes a little bit. Not that I can talk. And, he just doesn't seem mentally all there. And she takes the opportunity to make him feel a little bit better. Like, notices that he's stewing on this kind of stuff, right? Reminding him who's at fault here. Reminding him to cast all blame and doubts and weight onto your superior officer. That's what they're there for. We're tools. We're tools of war. Now, again, I argued in the reaction, and I still agree upon your ultimate judgment, potentially by a being X type in the next life or whatever, something like that. Will you be able to fall back on that kind of stuff? Say I was just following orders? Or, again, is there going to be some kind of, punishment there? Again, nobody can really know there, but I certainly wouldn't feel okay with it within myself. It makes that earlier scene in episode 4 and kind of the campus life stuff stick out a lot more. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the exact reason why we're including it. So again, the audience is along for the ride here when we start introducing the concept in real time. And again, to my knowledge, this also illuminates to the audience what Tanya was trying to do here. She's also trying to shift the blame off of you and onto her. She's trying to make her role as superior officer as real as possible and try to help you through this kind of stuff. Hey, don't fight it. We're gonna have to do this thing. Let's just let it happen. And yeah, as they're laughing and kind of holding hands even, watch it. I don't know. You may have competition with me, buddy. This guy's dying of potato poisoning. That's the bit I wanted to get to. Next up, we have a meeting between Tanya and Rerigan. Essentially here, Rerigan thanks Tanya for executing phase 1 of the plan. We've evacuated. You guys solved it. It seems like they believe it. They're going to start marching forward. And then Tanya notes that there's been a lot of propaganda planted about us to other nations. So again, I think this is a really crucial step. I think the tactics here would be a little bit obvious without this side of it, without the cause, without the justification. So the enemy basically thinks that we're on our last legs because of what happened at Arene. So our supplies have been crippled, we need to fall back. They think that this is an opportunity that needs to be seized now. They think that they have the advantage as opposed to us dictating pace. Yeah, I think this is a really smart decision to implement the propaganda here. And yeah, this is phase 2 of the plan, Operation Shock and Awe. This is when Tanya attaches herself to a rocket and is going to fucking mess some people up, I think. And yeah, Tanya sets herself up for failure here. We're going to need some kind of revolutionary new tactic to be able to get in and out of there. Something completely unexpected, something out of the ordinary, something bordering on mad science. And then, lo and behold, the mad scientist character reappears. There he is! I hate this guy, man. Look at his stupid mouth. He looks like a Muppet. And yes, I know his name is Dr. Shugel. He will forever be known as the mad scientist. Please don't disrespect my opinion on the matter. So this guy's super mega god pilled, and God came to him again and told him to make a giga rocket. And yeah, so Being X is just trolling here at this point. Like, how can we fuck with Tanya the most? Let's get, like, literally the mad scientist guy from before to fucking tape her to a rocket and shoot it at them. Like, what direct... Is there a more direct metaphor for war? I don't think there is. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to break down his, like, kooky, crazy dialogue and Aoyuki finally playing the straight man against it. Just, yeah, good gear. Good gear. It doesn't really need that much analysis. Looks like a clown, bro. Seems the magic and mage stuff is going to be a crucial component here, though. Seems we need some kind of shielding at the very end as the kind of Mach 1.5 rocket super plane hits its location to make sure that people survive. Again, much like our protection magic that we have been using, it's kind of like being attacked from every direction. Like, incredible style, like Violet, like make a ball around yourself type stuff. Here we see confirmation that our plan is working. We have the Republic here shooting out a few artillery shots, none of which are received. It seems like they're actually really not there. Hey, seems like they've retreated. Let's charge. Let's go. Oh my god, I can't believe they're falling for it. Look at them go, charging ahead into the into the bitter unknown. Yeah. Probably not a great omen, guys, but anyway. We see a fun little demonstration here of the kind of forces changing, of the front changing, I guess. We've retreated back to here. They're taking a lot of this land. Very cool. It seems like they're on the march, but in actuality, we're going to surround them. It's going to be very awesome, very, very cool. And this guy's back. He was at Arene. He feels some kind of way about it and thinks that we're finally getting our revenge. And yeah, I think Mr. Mustache guy is getting kind of reckless. We'll drink the rest of this alcohol when we come back after we're victorious. Again, maybe a few too many steps ahead for you, man. Probably doesn't bode particularly well. Seems like you're, again, as I said, count your eggs before they hatch. One more contemplative scene here between Grants and Vice, whereby, you know, they now realize that they're also on a very important mission, or Tanya's battalion is on a very important mission, and it could be like suicide mission-esque as well. They're really, really, like, the pressure's on. They're like, end the war tomorrow type stuff, right? Like, the jitters are getting to him, again, in combination with everything else going on too, the whole moral question of the last battle. I can understand why he feels the way he feels, I guess. And again, at least Vice is here now to calm him down. Kind of liking the bromance here. I don't mind it, it's pretty cool. So she mentions the number 11 there. Is 11 the only... Do we only have 12 people left total? From everything? Maybe. Could be possible. I don't know. I haven't been counting. Either way, Tanya seems gung-ho about the whole thing. More demonstration that, you know, the Tanya we see in meetings with her superiors isn't the same Tanya we see in meetings with her inferiors. Oh, I missed this. Have they, like, booby-trapped their old trenches and stuff for when, like, the forces come through? Does that make any sense? Like, hey, like we've set up a bunch of explosives for when they roll through our old territory. Or it's something more specific with the left flank. Because we're going to have a left flank and a right flank for us to surround, right? So, and yeah, kind of ending that scene there saying it's all up to Tanya. I'm not sure how Rerigan feels about all that. Then we have the double dragon back again. Right there, as noted in a previous episode, this is a metaphor for the two generals. Zetsubou and the other guy, I don't know, I forget his name. Mr. Mustache over here, you know the guy. Where again, they yuck it up a little bit, saying that they're both kind of nervous about tomorrow's events and what may transpire, but they both laugh it off. They can't be that nervous, you know. Where again, they say that we have to win tomorrow for the fatherland, for all that kind of stuff. As he grabs his blood-red cup, aware of what he's going to have to do, spill a lot of human blood to basically end the war. Dawn breaks on the new day, and Tanya and the gang are about to get on a fucking aeroplane, right? Hydrogen-fueled missile plane. We're launching the Mage kind of piloted manned rockets, codenamed V1s, and the last thing that Tanya hears just as she goes up into the air is "May God watch over the fatherland." Bet she's fucking sick of hearing that. She basically says, "I'm a Reddit atheist that only believes in facts and logic," which is pretty based on her part. More saying that she has faith in the people around her, faith in the idea of duty and doing your job and that kind of stuff. Our pride lies in duty and sacrifice here, of course. Do it for the fallen as well. Let's go win this battle. A true Imperial soldier goes anywhere, even purgatory, and conquers it. Again, a true Imperial soldier faces up against being axed. And yeah, this is the same song as the ED. Interesting. Very, very cool. Like the ED from last episode. And then, yeah, this is pretty impressively produced and directed as well. Quite like this sequence in combination with the music. Really, again, demonstrating the speed and the noble sacrifice of what they're doing and so forth. Even Rerigan's praying for our success. Boo. He said the P word. Tanya brings up a great irony here. I was supposed to climb the ladder in the rear lines. How did it end up like this? Literally going to the frontest of front lines, the most front of lines, behind enemy lines even. Being X may have more power than he lets on. He may have a grand plan for you to get into the worst spot possible. To where you're in the most danger, to where you need to use your fucking abilities the most. And yeah, we make our kind of crash landing here, right there at the very end of the episode, just before the ED. Cliffhangering us, of course, as Tanya says, hey, it's time to make our splash. It's time to end this war. No more fighting, no more praying if I end the war, right? And again, as I said before in the video, the war's not going to end, buddy. Come on now. And yeah, Operation Shock and Awe is taking place. We end the episode with a little bit of a goof or gaff, whereby the guy died from eating a potato, and you're writing a letter home and giving him a war medal for dying from eating, like, a potato. Okay, sure. It's also, like, 10:30 and I need to go to sleep, so we're gonna end the video there. Yeah, intriguing set of episodes here. Definitely threw me for a loop, definitely very different than I expected, in a very cool way. I liked the direction we went, and I think it developed Tanya's character wonderfully. I think it's actually pretty subtle with the way it's telling Tanya's story there, with the internal struggle she's going through. As reflected by the people around her and so forth, with it kind of hiding it, obfuscating it from the audience in that same way, the same way that she's obfuscating it from her, you know, inferior soldiers below her, her subjects. Yeah, that as well as the tactics being fascinating too, and maybe some real-world application stuff there, who can say. Either way, looking forward to the next week, probably just the one, and then we end with 2, that would make sense to me, but again, we'll see. I also hear there's some specials. Do I need to watch the specials? I know I'm watching the movie, but should I watch the specials? Please let me know. Either way, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching this week. Patreon, if you want to be that 1 week ahead. Discord, like the video, subscribe. And I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Goodbye.